everybody. It is with great pleasure and privilege that I sit in front of you today on this Thursday, 31st. The time is now 6:30 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. We're going to start with an invocation by Reverend Alfredo Benavides with Stonegate Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Ms. Cynthia Carrasco.
We're going to pray that God will just bless this meeting, but also I'd like to remind you that we have been blessed. God spared us from the fury of the storm, so we want to thank God for that. But also we need to pray also for all those people that are going through a difficult time right now. So let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Father, we want to thank you this afternoon, my God. We want to thank you so much. Thank you, Lord, for loving us the way you do, for touching our lives the way you have. And Lord, we thank you for this moment that the City Council wants to open up with a prayer. I thank you for that, my Lord, because we know that you are in charge, that your will is going to be done. So we pray that your Holy Spirit will guide them to do everything according to your will, my God. Father, we also remember the people that are suffering at this time during this hurricane season. Father, we pray that you will supply all their needs according to your riches and glory. Father, we pray that you will enable each and every one of us to care, not just with words, but with action also. So, Father, guide us today, guide us tonight, and we give you all the honor and the glory. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Wait, can you face the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll go to agenda item number 2, citizen comments and public announcements. It seems that at this time we have no citizen comments, so in the essence of time, we'll skip over to public announcements. We'll start with Ms. Moran. You have any announcements?
I would just like to make a comment about, as the Reverend said, we were spared from a catastrophic storm here in Alice. But today, we, Councilwoman Garza and myself and some of the other council members will be out there as well, have been at the recycling center accepting donations. We will be a collection station, and we will be there till September 6th. We will be collecting canned goods and non-perishable items. But most importantly, as we said our Pledge of Allegiance, it reminds us that we are Americans, we are Texans helping Texans, and we are Alicians who have opened our hearts with compassion and concern over the other communities. And for that, I thank all the businesses, the county, the school, the council, and everyone, city employees, and our first responders for stepping up and showing what true Alicians can do, united together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moran. Mr. Crisp?
I'll keep it brief because the truth is we're all going to say the same thing because we all feel humbled by our community and what they're doing out there for the last several days and what they're going to continue to do and what we as a community are going to continue to do. We have some great people throughout our community that stepped up the very following day and started looking to help people, and now they're looking to help us help people. And we can't, no one could ever say thank you enough for people willing to help people. By the same token, I want to also thank our staff. We were spared from a storm, but I feel that our staff did what they needed to do to prepare us and our community to a large extent for a storm that could have hit us very hard. The county stepped up, the city stepped up. We had our neighbors in San Diego that were saying, hey, for you in Alice who can't get the bags because the lines are long, come see us in San Diego. It came together. We came together as a community and as communities, and I can't thank y'all enough for what you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crisp. Ms. Garza?
Yes, I would like to thank the fire department, the police department for a job well done. For Demetrio, Victor, Robert, all the staff,
employees. Joshua, all of y'all did a great job. Diana, for holding up the fort. Thank you again so very much for everything, and hopefully we don't have to ever go through anything like this again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Ms. Carrasco?
The same. I want to thank everyone, all our staff, our community, and our neighboring communities that came together to help us all. And thank God we were spared, but our first responders, y'all did an awesome job in helping the communities that were affected, and I appreciate everything you've done. And Diana, thank you for holding up this. I mean, she stayed up and long days along with the
Tarantulas.
our staff. So-
With tarantulas.
So thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carrasco. And of course, it's been said. I do want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, and if I stood here, it'd be like a Golden Globe Award. You know, the thank yous don't end. But specifically, Diana, you did an amazing job. As our interim city manager, you stepped up like a city manager that was tenured and had gone through this over and over again. I appreciate you. You were amazing. And another thank you, of course, to our staff that was amazing, that sometimes gets overlooked, but they were out there too, ready to fight the storm and making sure that we were going to have good, clean water. And AEP, sometimes they get overlooked, and they're messing with electricity that could get zapped right away. And my boys, as I call y'all, my fire department and my PD, gosh, I saw y'all in action in Port A. Y'all went in and took over. I am so proud of y'all. I was so proud to be almost like y'all's mom, representing you guys when the city manager looked at me and said, wow, those guys came through for us. Y'all did an amazing job. They slept in a place that y'all wouldn't believe. They went into a place as first responders, which is what they do, but they took it like their own town, and it wasn't, because their people were so weak mentally and emotionally and couldn't do the job, and they just went in and did it. And I thank our ladies and gentlemen that make this happen every day, not just in times like this. I do want to send good vibes and good prayers to our people who are suffering. Some of them are just 60 miles away, y'all. So every night, say a little prayer and count your blessings every night. And I want to end with Go Coyotes. My kid's playing tonight, so hope for a safe and good game. As a mom, I die on these nights and grow gray hair. But thank y'all anyway, and thank you everybody to be together with all this. And going on to agenda item number 3.
Sweetheart, I'd like to say something else.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would like to thank the Glossbrenner unit for the inmates that helped with the sandbags.
Absolutely.
Even though they're inmates, but they're still human beings, and they put all their efforts out there to help for 2 days. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, correct. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on because we can sit here forever, right? Thanking. Agenda item number 3, promotional ceremony for firefighter Rafael A. Salinas to the promotional rank of fire apparatus operator at the City of Alice Fire Department.
Mayor and council, this evening we have the privilege and honor of watching fire apparatus operator Rafael Cubby Salinas receive his pin for his rank. Cubby began his employment with the City of Alice in March of 2008, and at this time I'll turn it over to Fire Chief Dean Van Nest.
And we're honored to be able to do this tonight for Cubby. Cubby's worked hard. Cubby came close and missed, and he's finally got his reward. And so we're grateful to see him grow and expand from a basic employee to a tenured employee, and he's become a very valuable member of our team. So, Cubby, you'll step forward. Girlfriend Kimberly, come forward. And his sister Delinda come forward. We'll let Kimberly pin the badge on, and then we'll let his sister pin his collar brass on. And we'll get to find out if he's been good to his girlfriend here real quick. Kimberly?
Yes.
this out of the way for you. No, you're supposed to do that with your girlfriend. Yeah, just like that. Close on. Well, I'll try. And Captain Canals come forward and he'll present Cubby with his helmet, signifying the rank of driver operator. Yeah. And I'd like to take this opportunity also today. Everybody mentioned how well our staff did, and it makes me really proud of our staff. But I got a phone call today from a Corpus Christi battalion chief who was also in Port Aransas, and he complimented our staff about being professional, stepping up and taking it on. And he was really complimentary because it was a combination of career firefighters and volunteer firefighters from San Diego, Ben Bolt, and Alice that did that. And that shows you how good of a team we are locally and how well of a team we are when we go someplace else and we're willing to step up and do that. And then I don't know, Diana, do you have that plaque from Kingsville?
If you give me a minute, I'll go grab it.
Okay.
Should we do a photo op for Cubby
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
with all the guys?
Yep.
Would all of y'all like to get in a picture with him?
He's
The
already
brotherhood.
giving the orders.
It's always a team effort. with
It's
you
always
guys.
great to watch a young man who's come in from the very beginning
Yes.
and move forward. So it's always great.
Absolutely. Come on, guys.
Keep it coming. Yeah, of course, Cody. Cody would get in the front.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Can't put the helmet on and mess up that hair.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all.
Guys, stay up here. So, everybody just stay here. And also, as a piece of information for council, recently the city of Kingsville issued a certificate of appreciation for our staff who went to Kingsville to assist with their downtown historic fire. So this shows, again, Alice is important to the region. And we're willing to work and step up to the region. And seeing how Captain Canales was the commander on duty that went down there, it's my pleasure again to hand this back over to him. He went to Kingsville, he accepted it on the behalf, and that's what, the things that we're looking forward to. Our engagement of our officers stepping up.
It was a team effort, it wasn't just one person.
That's the whole thing. This is a team. This whole department's a team.
Yeah, they are.
Darren's not here. There was 4 of us that went, and this was the team that was there. So this is essentially everybody's, not just, this is the department-wide, because we're all a team. So this is going to the station. We're gonna put it up at the station. Like I said, it wasn't just one person, it was all of us. So, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for your daily service, every day, all day and night. On to agenda item number 4, consider and act upon adopting a resolution ratifying the submission of a small business service provider grant application to the Office of the Governor, Economic Development and Tourism Division for $5,038.50 to host a workshop for small businesses, accepting the grant award of $5,039 and authorizing the interim city manager to sign the grant agreement number 17-4. Okay, at this time, is there any discussion, council?
I have one quick question. The difference between this one and what's in the packet?
The grant agreement,
Yeah, we had received basically, it looks like the same thing in the packet, and I was just wondering if there was a difference there.
it was a timeline because we had originally planned to bring this earlier, to an earlier meeting, so we just changed the wording a little bit. Where we said earlier this month, we received notification. In a previous staff summary, we actually had a different
week.
date.
Okay.
Right, last
It's
week.
the same
good. It's the-
essential information, it's just with the correct dates and,
Okay, great. That's, I think we're good now.
In May of this year, local small business owner Marisa Utley discussed this grant opportunity with administration and asked the city to partner with her in applying for funds to host a workshop for small businesses to learn of the numerous resources available to assist them with their operations. She has utilized these small business providers in her own businesses. With the economic downturn, locally and regionally, we recognize that getting the word out about this expansive network of resources to help small businesses with financial stability and with sustaining operations is one way the city can help our local small businesses. The project scope involves hosting a workshop, inviting a group of 200 small businesses utilizing the Chamber of Commerce list and definition of what a small business is. Hosting it at a local bank. Ms. Utley has already contacted and invited service providers and secured the venue for the workshop. She will be serving as project director for this grant project. She will also serve as moderator at the workshop. The budget includes $2,500 for the moderator's fee, $500 for renting audiovisual equipment, $563 for publication and printing, $960 for advertising, $320 for supplies, and $196 for postage. Following the workshop, Ms. Utley will tell attendees that for the next 12 months, she will serve as their point of contact regarding networking with the service providers that presented at the workshop. In addition, she will track the number of workshop attendees who utilize the programs and services of those service providers. And she'll prepare the required grant reports to submit to the state. We will execute a memorandum of agreement with Ms. Utley detailing her responsibilities as project director. This program is a reimbursement program. There's no match requirement, During the application process, there was no resolution required. However, when the grant agreement was sent to us, when we reviewed the assurances and certifications, there was a provision talking about a resolution. We did call the state and asked them about that, and they said these provisions apply to all the programs through the Finance and Tourism Division, but we felt that it would be best to go ahead and come to you, asking you to ratify submission of the application and pass the resolution authorizing signing the grant agreement.
Council, any questions? Ms. Carrasco?
I just have questions in reference to, if this does, and everyone agrees on this, it states that Ms. Utley would be the one to keep track and, I just,
Yes, ma'am.
That's-
As project director and in the memorandum of agreement that we would execute with her, we'd repeat what is in the grant application as far as her responsibilities for keeping the statistics.
okay, and is there anyone on the city that would be also, it would just be Ms. Utley that would be preparing these reports and making sure that we're within our guidelines and?
I'll
with the-
assist her, but
you'll
she'll be tracking. She'll be following up with the attendees.
Okay.
But I will assist her in getting the report submitted to the state, getting it prepared and submitted to the state. And of course, we'll work with our finance
Okay. Now,
department.
on the 200 businesses that were mentioned, are those local businesses here in Alice within the city limits, or how is that structured?
Yes, ma'am. We got a city map, and we asked the engineering department to identify a 1 mile and 2 mile radius from City Hall. And so we have that map.
I remember.
And then we have the chamber's membership list.
Can I
and
ask why
which-
we chose that radius? Why did we just stick
Downtown.
to but is this
It's
grant a
like-
downtown grant?
Well, to start with,
I know I had mentioned to you I didn't like that idea at EOC.
Very limited.
Yeah, because that kind of, we have so many small businesses that are not in this radius. I just don't think it's being equal to all small businesses.
We narrowed it down to 200 and we started with that scope because of the size of the amount that we were asking for. Now, if we wanted to include every business in Alice or Jim Wells County, then we would have asked for more funding. But we felt that because of the city and the way their finances were, and this has to be paid up front, it would probably be better to start off with a smaller one if this was successful. Then we could have another one later on and apply for another grant.
My only concern is, as a city, if we're backing this, I feel like we're not being fair to everybody and giving everybody equal opportunity. That's the only issue I have with this, and I know I had mentioned that to you at EOC.
Well, if you think about 200 different businesses from here on out.
Within the 2 mile
and you have to
radius,
fit a small business, which is
the chamber, it's the
what the chamber
chamber
defines
definition.
as a small business, which is
25.
25 or fewer employees. And we want to target businesses owned by veterans, women, and minorities that are located within the 2 mile radius of City Hall. So if we reach that 200, then we've reached that. But if that does not reach 200 invitations, then we will continue to expand with a larger radius. But like I said, this was a starting point. I mean, we could have asked for 10, 20,000, but I didn't think that that would have been right now with the condition of
no,
the
and that's
city.
not my concern. My concern is the limitation, 2 mile radius of City Hall, versus 200 small businesses.
Well, the limitation comes with,
If I can interrupt for a second, Mayor, you'll look at page 23 of your grant agreement. You indicated something that appears to be contained in the grant agreement.
What page?
Hit upon, it's page 23.
Okay,
They're on the bottom left-hand corner.
the little tiny left.
I
Okay?
Paragraph I,
Aye.
the event registration open to the public. Registration for the event must be open to the public. Registration cannot be limited to a membership within grantee's organization or other particular group.
So then why is this stated in the front?
I don't know, Your Mayor. It appears that the grant term in the clause requires it to be open to the general public.
Correct. So then we're not limiting it. Then we're,
We can't limit it, it sounds
Well,
like.
what we're doing though is we're inviting, like, we asked for this amount of money for the invitations, for the postage, so 200 are going out. Now, there's gonna be flyers put out on social media. So it is open to everyone and anyone, but as far as invitations that we're sending out will be 200 invitations.
I mean, I think I agree with the mayor here. I love the concept of this. I just, and I understand where you're coming from as well, because this is money that the city has to front, correct?
Correct.
So this is money that the city has to front, and we will not see again until December 1st?
December 1st is the closeout. We have to have the reimbursement and the closeout report submitted by December 1st. Yes, sir.
I just feel that, and I'm trying to broaden the spectrum, is I just feel that our whole city is suffering.
right.
And
That's my
by
concern.
targeting 200, and that's what is, the target group is 200. We're, like the mayor said, we're accepting the idea that we're not open to the whole city. That's just how I feel about it. I mean, it's very, very hard. I know that we've worked here lately on a downtown renovation. I know that we've worked on this and worked on that, but it's the city of Alice, not
But we
2
have-
miles from the center of Alice.
But we don't have enough funds, 5,000 to go
But
around.
the
Just
200 is
open
just invitations.
Patients,
Right.
correct.
It's just invitations.
You don't have to
So-
personally invite.
Yeah.
I would feel like that would go against Clause I,
And as long as we get,
limited to a membership within the grantee's organization.
Ms. Utley, how many people can you actually accommodate in the facility?
That's a question I'll have to ask Mr. Roger Sines. He's allowing us to use the top floor at the Plains Capitol building.
Okay.
And that is at no charge, so.
What dates are we or date or
We
is-
were looking at October 4th, but this has been pushed a little further out, and that's very close, and with the hurricane, we may have to look at another date, to push it a little further in October.
Yeah, and I think when you had presented it to EOC, I brought that up.
You're talking about the EDC?
I'm sorry, I'm stuck on, I'm stuck on Hurricane Emergency Operations Center. EDC, yes. And I think somebody was in there that said, no, you could probably get KC Hall or VFW to help you on this if we opened it to more. Because the cost won't change, will it? Because we're talking the cost, if you invite other people, because these presenters are presenting, correct? So, unless the supply
the
amount would
960
change.
for advertising, is that the mailouts?
That is for the newspaper.
That is for the newspaper?
Okay, so that's general. 360 for supplies, maybe that,
196 for postage, that's.
for postage. 563 for publication and printing, what is that?
that's for the
The
invitations.
invitation.
Okay, so see that, I feel like goes against that clause I.
What we could do, the venue that she has been checking on is at no charge.
Right,
And if the other venues would be at no charge, or
have we checked, Ms. Barbara?
I haven't. 'Cause
Exactly, okay.
What we could do is, instead of sending out invitations, just publicize it.
Correct.
And the first 200, whatever the limit is for the venue.
The supplies is covering what, Ms. Utley?
Excuse me?
320 for supplies is covering,
Right here, the labels. We're going to have an evaluation survey card at the workshop, so the supplies will be the labels for the evaluation survey cards, so they can mail them back,
And everything is listed, the tablecloths
Plus-
for tables.
and 3 reams of copy paper. Let me give them a copy of this.
Do you not have that?
We can-
yeah, I thought that would help. I I just, at times like this, Ms. Utley, I don't like to not pay attention to all our small businesses, which we have a bunch of them, and a bunch of them are hurting. And if we, as a city, support this 2-mile radius of City Hall, I'm not comfortable with that. And if it's not even in the grant, you know, in the grant, it's open to the public, so why even say that?
Well, that was part of our grant application, so they didn't come back and question that from the governor's office. So if that's something that the council doesn't feel comfortable with, then we can change that. We can exclude invitations and we can do it by flyer. I feel that you get a little more response when someone is given an invitation. It's more personable and you get that RSVP. But if you all want to do it to where it's just open with a flyer and on social media, then we can go that route.
Mayor, if I can
Yes, sir.
explain. And where your concern should come in is that if you have your 200 people that respond to your invitations, and you limit to those 200 people, then you're not in compliance with I, because then it technically isn't open to the general
That's right.
public. And so if you send your invitations and it's a first come, first served basis, and you have other people that come in that read the flyer or whatever want to register, and you get your 200 people, and then other people that got invitations come in, then, oh, well, they have to be excluded. And so generally, that's the way
No
that you'd have to
invitation.
run it.
And let me kind of ease you a little bit. I helped with another grant in Jim Hog. It was a $10,000 grant, similar to this, it was just a larger scope. We were at Jim Hog Pavilion, and we ran this thing in every newspaper, Facebook, I mean, you name it, we publicized this thing. And it had to do with the Raven Refinery, so everybody was interested, Laredo was involved, everyone. And we had about 250 people. So let's be realistic. I mean, I understand where y'all are coming from, and once again, we can say that we can open it with a flyer. I really doubt we're gonna get
What was the
200
subject?
people up.
What was
up
the
in the-
subject over there?
The subject was small businesses. It was a small business workshop. So it was to help small businesses, same way that we're going to grow or going to expand due to the economy, I guess, being built up when the refinery gets there. So it's along the same lines. The grant comes from the same funding. As a matter of fact, our contact person in the governor's office was the same contact that we used when we applied for this grant. So I'm just saying, a $10,000 grant, a huge venue, months of preparation, and we got 275 people. So I really don't foresee us going over 200 people in this workshop.
You're legal, John. That I is the concern.
If she applies it as, if the invitations are just invitations and not restricted, in other words, if somebody walks in, suppose John Lemon walks in because my office is over here, or you walk in, Mayor, because your business is over there and would qualify, and you register, they can't exclude you over because one of the 200 people that they sent the invitations to wants to come in. Basically, it has to be a first come, first served sort of thing, and they can advertise it in a fashion so that the general public understands.
Correct.
And I think that she's saying that this is just one of the ways they're gonna advertise and send out invitations, but we have to understand that even if you don't get an invitation, you can come.
Correct.
Which
I
is
think
why-
that needs to be very
Which
clear.
is why we have funding for the newspaper to advertise in Allison.
I think
So,
one of the things I'd like to see is the day that those go out, those invitations go out, we also blast it any way and every way that we can on social media, because, again, it's more than just
Right.
that radius. And I understand that the invitations are going out, but that way everybody gets noticed at the same time. Everybody has the same opportunity at the same time, because that's what we need to give across the
Because
city
I'm not
is
gonna stand
equal
here and pick
opportunity.
and choose and support only those businesses when so many are hurting.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
well, and the list is disadvantaged businesses here that we chose to list. And because of those disadvantaged businesses, because of those business owners, that is why we were granted or awarded this grant. So those invitations will go to the specifics that we listed so that we're in compliance with our grant application. But yes, we can still open it to the public, and that same PDF of that invitation is what we will advertise and what we will blast on social media.
That's my concern on that, Council. Cynthia, I'm sorry, you weren't done right.
Yeah, I wanted to ask on when we are inviting these small businesses, what is it that we're offering the small businesses? What education, what
We're-
support?
We are
What
bringing
are we?
in service providers from the Corpus area, which is SCORE, which is Texas A&M Innovation Business Center, the SBDC from Del Mar. We have someone that specializes in TxDOT and getting these businesses registered to do government work. So we have different service providers that are not available here, that people in Alice would have to drive to Corpus to, that might not know that are even available for their businesses. And I've had friends that have had to shut down businesses because they don't have the resources or the tools to say, can I continue? Can someone help me with a business plan? Is there a creative way of getting a little more financing to make it through this next year? Should I shut my doors? You know, what do I do?
I know that the chamber does offer some of those classes, and SCORE does come down here, and I know they do those type of things. I was just kind of, what else, instead of, because those are free to the public.
Right. And so will this, because if you think about it, the governor's office is giving us money to host this event. So if we put everyone under one roof at one time and host it as an event, I believe we'd have a better turnout. I've helped one with trying to take that out and put it in the community and call different businesses and design flyers for him, but we haven't really had much of a turnout. And I'm hoping that now that people see that they do need help, they'll take advantage of these resources. I think it's a great opportunity for our town and for our city to get awarded, $5,000 without a match, just money to help us with resources and tools. But I will let you all as a council, decide if that's something you want to do for our small businesses.
Ms. Carrasco, any other questions?
And something else, Ms. Carrasco, I'd like to add. I am listed on here, but I am listed through Momentum Consulting, which is my community and economic development consulting business. So that is how I was entered in the application for this grant, not just as an individual.
This is your company, Marisa?
Yes.
Momentum Consulting?
Yes.
Ms. Garza, any questions?
No.
Mr. Chris?
I just a quick statement again is I think this is a great thing to do. I just, again, like you said, is we as a council need to decide if it's something we want to do for our small businesses. Absolutely. It's just how it's done is our concern.
Correct.
It's not that we don't want to do it. So yes, we love this idea. We just need to remember beyond the 2 miles. That's my big thing. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Ms. Moran?
I've been sitting here patiently listening. I actually do have some concerns. Some are directed to Ms. Reeves, some will be directed to you, Ms. Utley, and some to our city attorney. So I'll start with our city attorney first. Have you had an opportunity, again, it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Utley, we are the grantee. In other words, we are going to be responsible for the implementation of this grant and also for any audits, audit deficiencies. And have you had an opportunity, Mr. City Attorney, to review Section 4, the grantee's general obligations? Are you comfortable with that, considering that we ourselves are not directly involved in the implementation in the normal scope of what Mrs. Reeves does as our grant development department?
And Ms. Moran, yes, in the original form that was submitted to me, I did look at Section 4. Section 4 is a standard requirement.
Exactly.
And it is, there's exposure as the grantee, but it is the type of situation that the city gets involved in with grant partnership all the time. And in these particular regards, there's nothing different that would be required from us than if we were, suppose, working as the grantee, working with our EDC directly, or those types of entities. And so, I guess, whether I'm concerned with it or not, we should always be concerned with it. And so whether it's an individual or whether it's the individual's company, that it's going to, or the EDC, if we are the grantee, those responsibilities fall back on the city. The term is a standard term, and that it is up to you guys to decide whether it's an exposure that the city wants to have. But you all have to make those decisions based upon your knowledge or opinions in regards to the actual, let's say the grant partner with us in these regards. But yes, that you are correct, Ms. Moran, that those responsibilities ultimately would fall to the city, that it would involve Ms. Reeves' review to make sure that certain things were done and make sure that the auditing was done correctly, and we don't do anything wrong.
And I'm specifically referring to that the grantee, the city, is held accountable and responsible for the standards of the financial and programmatic management of this grant. And my concern being, for example, we currently have the EDA grant that we all know is looming very closely to us. It was not completed. And while this is a small grant, my concerns again are that we are careful that we don't fall into any missteps of how we're going to manage this grant. The other concern I had, and again, I don't recall, Ms. Reeves, this is a question for you. I feel like we continue to put the cart before the horse, and I'll give you a very good example. Experience has always shown that you come to the council and you ask for a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant. I don't recall this coming to the council in the form of a resolution. For example, if we take the agenda item number 9, I believe the county will be presenting this, and it specifically reads, discuss, consider, and act upon authorizing a resolution supporting the submission of a grant. And it goes on to explain the grant. Here you're asking us to
Ratify.
agree to a grant that has been granted to us, which we are very much appreciative. My concerns is that I would have liked to have had the opportunity to ask some of the questions I'm currently asking.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. This particular grant program, during the application process, did not require a resolution. I called one of the staff in that Finance and Economic Tourism Division who works on this program. I specifically asked him. He said no resolution is required. The process that the city has been following with regard to grants is if there's match required, if the grant program requires a resolution, we bring it to city council ahead of submitting the application.
Again, we would have liked to have had the opportunity
Yes,
to
ma'am.
ask the questions we're
And
now
that's something
asking.
that, this was with prior administration. It's something that I've discussed
Okay.
with the grants department. In my opinion, whether it requires resolution or not, anything that is going to be grant-related will
Exactly.
be coming to the council for consideration.
Yes, because again, and I'm not going to focus too much up, but I'd like to be able to justify the level of service that our employees are putting into grants and whether or not we're actually serving a greater purpose, a greater target group. I am concerned that the service that this grant will be providing is already currently being provided by the U.S. Small Business Administration. They come to the chamber. Ms. Elizabeth Gonzalez, who is the Economic Development Specialist, does conduct seminars here. So does SCORE. And she also makes appointments. She offers seminars on startup and expanding your businesses. And she also provides free technical assistance that's available to small businesses. So these services are already being provided. I would have liked to have seen the scope of the grant be more of a reaching out to those businesses and identifying those that we need to look at perhaps we can offer this service to them in terms of diversifying their businesses from an oil and gas industry into something else, perhaps manufacturing, targeting those specific businesses. So that is a concern. Let's see. Mr. Lemon, are you comfortable with the certifications on page 12?
Yes, and Councilwoman, I did review it.
Okay.
The certifications are correct. Based upon some of the things that you said prior to, and some of the things Ms. Reeves said, generally, this grant is going to take the expenditure of city funds that are not included in our budget. And I think we all in the room.
That's my next comment.
And I think we all in the room understand that if we're going to make those expenditures, it's going to take action of council, and that probably it's best, regardless of whether or not the office of the governor or capital fund or wherever we're going to, if we're going to expend city funds in those regards, it's probably best to have the city resolve to take action before the action is taken, because the process begins, and then what we have is we have all these problems, we have these questions that come up at the end of everything, when we could have already made a determination to amend the
Exactly.
budget to include
To
the
expend
funds.
those funds.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is my concern, Marisa, that this is not allocated in the 2017 budget.
This will be allocated in 2018 in the proposed
Exactly.
budget because
Because it
the
is
actual,
Reimbursement.
the actual event will take place after October 1st.
Okay. So, I would, again, something like this, I know the focus, and the mayor has talked about this in the past, and I know, Marisa, you've been very involved with this. I would like to have, perhaps have had the council had an opportunity to discuss what is the best way to utilize these funds. And I can see these funds being utilized perhaps in a Main Street program where we could start off putting aside the fund for Main Street with the 5,000 and then letting that fund grow and having matching funds from businesses downtown that need to apply for these grants. And you're familiar with that, Marisa, I think. Maybe better utilizing that for our downtown. And with that said, those are my comments.
Thank you, Ms. Moran. Okay, I'll entertain a motion if no one has anything to add.
I'd like to make one more statement.
Okay.
The likelihood of actually receiving this money back, we've already been approved. So if the process is followed properly, Ms. Barbara follows through and everything's done properly, we will expend the money and we will get it back.
reimbursed. Yes,
We'll
sir.
be reimbursed. So, okay.
When?
How long does that process usually take?
The one that I would just help with was 30 days, less than 30 days, about 22 days actually, when they received the $10,000.
Because, like I said, and what was stated is, funding is tight.
Yes,
We
sir.
know that. We sat here for 40 hours going through, trying to figure out the budget, trying to figure out how money's being spent, and if it's coming back in, then so be it, as long as it's coming back in timely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so.
I will double check with the program specialist who sent the grant agreement to see if what the standard is, since this is a new program for us.
Okay. And like Ms. Moran said, Ms. Reeves, I would love for us to have questions before.
Sure, we'll be happy to do that. I was just relating to you
Yeah.
what the process has been.
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion at this time, council.
Make a motion to adopt a resolution ratifying the submission of the small business service grant application.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay. There's a second on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? No? Okay, the motion stands as stated.
Thank you.
Council.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Make it work.
Okay. At this time, due to our guest for executive session, and we're still waiting on Mr. Rudy to get back into town. Agenda items 5 through 9, Mr. Rudy, we would like him to be present. So at this time, we're going to skip to 10. Agenda item number 10, the City Council will enter into closed executive session for the following matters. A, Government Code 551.071, to seek advice from its legal counsel to consider pending contemplated litigation, a settlement offer, or on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the City Council under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act, specifically an environmental audit of the city's municipal landfill. And 10B, Government Code 551.074, personnel-related matters in consultation with attorney, 551.071, attorney consultation to engage in a private consultation with its attorney on a matter in which the attorney has a duty to provide confidential and privileged legal advice relating to the following matters. 1, legal advice and counsel relating to the city's rights, duties, privileges, and obligations in connection with the adoption of and/or modifications of policies relating to pay, reductions in personnel, retirement criteria, and leave accrual for City of Alice personnel. 2, revisions to the position description for the city manager position. 3, search process for selection of city manager. So at this time, the time is 7:21. Council will now go into closed session.